Hey, this is Ty again for Roberts Jewelers. I wanted to talk about men's wedding bands for a minute. I just had a gentleman in looking at them. I wanted to kind of break something down real quick. So with a gold band, it is going to be more expensive than buying what they call an alternative metal. Alternative metal can be tantalum, titanium, tungsten, cobalt, a variety of different things. It can even be technically wood. So those are alternatives to a gold precious metal band. Wanted to go through the pluses and minuses real quick though. Even though an alternative band is going to be much cheaper, in our case as low as $250, this will always be the size that it is once it's made. So it's something to keep in mind. This particular ring, if you 10 years from now decide that it's a little bit tight or a little bit loose, you need it sized, this has to be sent off and a whole new ring sent back. And that new ring may or may not be the exact replica of your original ring. So it's something to keep in mind versus a gold ring, which is what I have. This can be taken at any point. It can be sized up or sized down by any jeweler. They add metal to it or they take metal away. They repolish it. In my case, would be rhodium dip if it's a white gold. If it's yellow gold, they just polish it back out. Much easier to contend with. Oftentimes 2 to 4 weeks maximum to have something sized. Same thing goes for light scratching. So an alternative metal, it's going to look very, very, very nice, just like a gold band. But even though this is a harder metal than a gold, it's harder to scratch. If you get a scratch, you can't necessarily just buff it back out. Gold band, buff it back out, no big deal. You can re-rhodium, you can cover all that stuff up. My particular ring actually needs another rhodium plating, but almost 2 years later, it still looks good. I can buff that out, I can clean that off. If I slam my hand, that's another last point to keep in mind. I slam my hand with this band into anything, that gold can bend a little. It'll be a little bit malleable. It'll give just a touch. An alternative band won't give. It'll eventually just shatter. It'll crack. Some people will have instances where an alternative metal band will get dropped, and instead of just ding, ding, ding across the floor like a gold band will, you'll get a couple of nicks or little dings. Alternative band will probably crack and or break all the way through. Same kind of thing, send it off, get a brand new one back. Cost wise, it is a lot cheaper to go with an alternative band. These can be as little as $250 here. These go up to say $600, whereas a gold band, depending on the size, and with gold it all depends on how much metal is there, could run you $700, $800, even to $1,000 for a regular band. But depending on your size and your type, you can get that down to say $450. Even a 10 karat, it's actually a little bit harder metal. It's just something to keep in mind. So weigh those pros and cons before you decide on it. A lot of guys, it's their very first piece of metal, or not piece of metal, piece of jewelry that they ever own. So it's something to bear reviewing. Thanks.